Welcome back, guys, to Phoenix Wright Justice for All, where we think we've got ourselves enough evidence on our hand to break another pair of Psyche Locks. Well, more to the point, we only need one piece of evidence to break our 4 Psyche Locks so far, so let's see if this one goes correctly or not as we come back to Lotta Hart to find more information on this case. Because we think a case of tabloid journalism, which she's of course part of, has taken place, really. And we think we know where your camera's gone as well, madame, but we'll probably get to that in a bit. Lotta, will you please answer my questions? On the night of the murder, why were you loitering around the victim's room? I told you, didn't I? For my scoop. What I want to know about are the details of this scoop. That's not something I can tell you. I mean, there's my bread and butter. Alright then, an unpleasant tabloid photographer looking for a scoop. I'm going to say that you were looking into a scandal. Could it be that you, Lotta Hart, were looking for a break of a huge story? Perhaps an unfolding scandal between Juan Clueder and this person? Well. Let's present you, Adrienne. This woman. She's Adrienne Andrews. Or maybe we could say Adrienne, because that sounds feminine. But still. What is a name and what is gender in that sense as well? Matt Ongar's manager, it's Adrienne Andrews. A Nickel Samurai's manager caught secretly meeting with his rival, the Jamming Ninja. It would be the hottest story of the season, wouldn't it? That's one. You're pretty good at this guessing thing, Mr. Lawyer. But you can't just make up any old thing and think it'll make the papers. You gotta have backup. Backup? Yeah. You gotta have that, what's it? News source? You mean news source? Well, that's it. So show me something that shows that one guy had something with Miss Andrews. Okay then. Well, you obviously took it literally from the news. Take that! This is the article from a certain weekly tabloid. Jamming Midnight Rendezvous? To the mysterious yet beautiful manager to the stars, Miss A.A. Ah! Mr. Clueder didn't have a manager of his own. What's more, his rival, Mr. Ongar's manager, Adrienne Andrews, she has the initials AA. You saw this article and then thought to take some pictures of them as proof. That's why you were lurking around Mr. Clueder's door last night. Wah! Gotcha. Unlock success. Let's talk about your big scoop then. You were looking into Mr. Clueder and Miss Andrews' affair, weren't you? You got it. I was going to get myself a scoop by catching him in a secret meeting. There's already an article about it in one of the weekly tabloid magazines. It's no longer breaking news. What'd you just say? Initials are AA. What kind of vague thing is that? That ain't no proof of nothing. People are going to want to see real proof. Well, at least I do. So that's what I was doing. Getting photos. Oh. I'm going to whip up the reader's interest with some gossip and a little misleading, and spice it up a little and have myself an exclusive story. Wow, Lotta. Nice journalistic integrity you got there. I already finished writing up my spicy article, you know. But the paper I wrote it on, my note to myself, it's gone. Your note to yourself? It was inside the case of my $1,600 camera. They done run off together. I came here for my big story. Didn't come here to have my treasure disappear on me. Yeah, I understand. It's enough to make a gal go bonkers, I tell you. What's with people now anyway? I never thought I'd see the day when someone done steal something from me. You really want that note back, huh? I've got no idea why though. The story on that note is probably a bold-faced lie. Alright then, so Lotta's camera's been updated in the court record. But I think we know where it is, where it's got to. Now, can we get a new conversation option with you, or are we looking to go somewhere else in the meantime? Considering, we could go to Adrienne, I guess, and go like, hey, this is what's going on here. Right, what actual update of this was there? Stolen on the night of the murder, tabloid article about the victim was in the case. Let's try again then. Nope, you don't want to say anything at all, old bag. Clamming up indeed. And I do not want to know your measurements no matter what. Thank you. Well, let's keep moving around then. Either we could do that, we could check the police precinct, see if that's open from here. Because we're only one step away after all, but something is going on, so that's not so bad. Because we need more information, don't we, surely, to talk before we talk to Adrienne, who's the only person other to go around and speak to at this point in time. Detective Gumshoe said they had an investigation briefing. Yeah. Oh, he's back. Hey, so you came, pal. Why the blunt greeting? Because there's nothing to be friendly or happy about. What do you mean by that? Well, things look perfect this time around. The evidence and testimony are airtight. But, we can't just roll over and die. We have to stay positive. Right. Well, if that's the case, we don't want to roll over at all. Airtight evidence and airtight testimony. So what do you mean the evidence is airtight? I can't give you all the details, pal, but there's two big pieces. Two? And both of them are in this photo. The first is the button that's missing from the victim's chest. That's the button that you found during your body search of Mr. On Guard. Yep, I found it in the folds of Nickel Samurai's special pants. And the second one is? A knife in his chest, pal. The fingerprints on a knife in his chest, to be exact. The knife that obviously wouldn't... It's not going to be killing blood. It's barely stuck in. It's stupid. Fingerprints? Whose are they? You didn't even have to ask, little missy. It's obvious. They're man on guards. Tomorrow's trial. Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place. I would literally just stand in the courtroom and go, well, I'm pretty sure if you do the autopsy report that didn't kill him. But you never know, it probably did end up killing him somehow. So what about this airtight testimony? It's that old security lady, Miss Oldbags. No, there's nothing airtight about her. I thought so. What do you mean, you thought so? Did she tell you something, pal? Well... I even told her not to open that mouth of hers and blab to anyone. Her blab knob is stuck on 10 and there's no turning it down. Trust me. Yeah, well, Miss Oldbags saw it all, pal. She saw Mr. On Guard come out of the victim's room around the estimated time of death. No way! Right, nothing else for information apart from that? That's not handy for me. Can I give him anything to try and get some information? Do you know anything about Lot's camera? If I'm caught leaking info from you here in the precinct, my neck's gonna be in a ringer, pal. Your neck? No! I mean my neck is a joke. Yeah, a joke. But yeah, ask me about things that have to do with the case only, alright, pal? I'd say that technically kinda does, but in a roundabout way. What about this? We're pretty interested in this bit of gossip ourselves. The scandal with Mr. Carida? But why? Well, 2 years ago, a woman committed suicide. Well, that's completely unrelated, but obviously it has some relation, otherwise that's really tangential, let's put it that way. Suicide? Her name was Celeste Impar, and she was Juan Carida's manager. The victim's manager? But that's not all, pal. Miss Impar was Miss Adrienne Andrews' mentor. She told Miss Andrews everything she knew about the business from square one. Her mentor? A woman who was both Mr. Carida's manager and Miss Andrews' mentor. Could a suicide have something to do with this case? Very, very linked. Do you want to know more about her, pal? Well, yeah. Tell me everything you know. She was the victim's manager and was also Miss Adrienne Andrews' mentor. It's been 2 years since her suicide, and now those two are linked again by another death. Or maybe it's just a coincidence. But the alarm! He's out again! He's weak to whips. I'm getting sick of dealing with one foolish idiot after another. Miss Von Karma! You can't seem to stop allying yourself with the enemy, can you? I don't need a traitor in my midst. You don't mean... I do. Scruffy. You have 30 minutes to get out of here. You are no longer needed. Goodbye. That's... Wait! Please wait, sir! If I don't get this month's pay, I'll stop...
quiet!
If it weren't for traitors like you, I would have won. Is that what you want to say?
Who?
That voice. Edgeworth! It's been a long time, right?
This person? This is Mr. Edgeworth?
What am I going to do with you? Still blaming others when things go wrong? You haven't changed a bit, Franziska.
You... How dare you show your face to me without a shred of shame upon it? You soiled the Von Karma name, dragged it through the mud. You even ran away with your tail between your legs like the ill-bred dog you are.
Are you talking about the Von Karma family creed? To be perfect in every way? Then let's hear it, Franziska. How are things going? I hear you are having a rough time maintaining perfection in this country.
You
seem to be getting crushed under the weight of it all. Well, that's why I came back.
Keep your assumptions to yourself. I haven't given in yet. I won't lose. This case is mine. I'll never hand it over to you. Never. Mr. Phoenix Wright, I will see you tomorrow in court. It will be a clinical lesson on the meaning of total victory.
Still the same wild mare she always was. Well, with heroic music comes Miles Edgeworth. I hope Gumshoe's okay. He's really got whipped a lot lately, and many unconscious times have come his way. Need to check him, really. Take him to the doctor, please. I thought you, the prosecutor Miles Edgeworth, had gone and died.
Mr. Nick!
I never want to see you again. I think that's enough of a warm welcome for someone you haven't seen in a year. Are you going to run tomorrow's trial? You heard her, right? That wild mare hasn't given in yet, it seems. So no, I don't think I'll be making an appearance. Your hatred for me is quite unhealthy, not to mention one-sided. But I will say one thing. You can't win on your own at the trial tomorrow. What is that supposed to mean? I have something definitive that you lack. And working together is the definition of teamwork. It's the power to find the truth. He's got really smug-faced lately as well. The truth? In order to understand this case, you have to understand a certain truth. Well, if you ever feel the need for my assistance, it is available to you. I'm not in charge of this case, so I can be a bit more generous with information.
Just what is going on inside his head?
I bet he knows, and I bet Gumshoe told him everything about the hostage situation. A lot of things may have happened, however Manfred Von Karma was still my mentor. And a perfect win record is proof of a Von Karma. 1 year ago, you could not establish guilt in a few cases. Are those losses the reason you suddenly disappeared from the prosecutor's office? Did you leave because you had lost your perfect win record? To think your motivation for prosecuting trials was so selfish. It would have been better for everyone if you never came back from the dead, Edgeworth. I see. And let me ask you something. Why do you stand in the courtroom? What is your reason? What is my reason? Why stand in court? Is this me replying to him rather than the other way around? I do the questioning here.
Well, with Franziska, she almost always says, "I will defeat you this time,"
the instant she sees me. But the courtroom is not a personal battlefield for prosecutors and lawyers. I stand in the courtroom to defend my clients. To save their lives. To save your client, you say? Those who think only of their own ego-driven goals. Those kind of prosecutors are reprehensible to me. Even if you're a prodigy, I'd like to point out the fallacy in his statement at the moment where he's basically said he does everything to prove a not guilty verdict for the defendant. Which is the opposite, or it's literally the same thing the prosecutors are saying, just the opposite way around, just the opposite side of the coin. Which is just as bad as the Von Karma way, surely. Even if you're a prodigy. Or someone like you, Edgeworth. Serious time. It looks like there is still a lot you have yet to learn. A lot I've yet to learn? Me? Well, that's enough for now. The time when you will see is coming soon enough. Right. Well, what else am I doing at this point in time? Can I get more information here? We've already talked to him that far. Can I talk to Gumshoe again? He was telling me some important things, but your showing up has completely messed with my brain. Thank you. Cheers for that. Because you were telling me about this lady. I kind of need to know a bit more, but what does Miles Edgeworth's profile says? A gifted prosecutor, he disappeared suddenly a year ago. Though he's not as dead as we, well, constantly said he was, but we kind of knew he wasn't. This woman is another key to solving this case. We are going to be able to talk to him specifically about the case. Does he know as much as Gumshoe does? Do you really think so? She was Adrienne Andrews' mentor a long time ago. But she was suddenly called away by a different show and became Juan Calida's manager. And then, a few months later, Celeste Impard died. But her death was ruled a suicide, right? Yes. But there is still one riddle we've yet to solve. A riddle? Her suicide note. It went missing. No one could find it. A suicide note that just vanished, huh? Well, that's interesting. Please. Tell me more. Miss Impard's death was most certainly a suicide. Of that, there is no mistake. However, we could not find her suicide note. That's when the police began to suspect that someone had hidden it. A suicide note? But how do you know Miss Impard ever written such a note? There was no solid evidence. However, we did find traces of ink on her right index finger. Well, that's really vague. Which makes the likelihood of a suicide note very high. Again, speculative. But who would hide such a thing? The police think it was Mr. Juan Calida himself. Really? The victim? To stop a scandal, maybe? He was the one who found her body. Which makes him the only person who had a chance to hide her suicide note. Mr. Calida hid his own manager's suicide note? But why? As long as her note is missing, any speculation beyond this is meaningless. For now, I think you should look this over. This is the suicide report. Part 1, anyway. Part 1? Must have been a lot of work done on that one then, for there to be a part 2. What does it say? Excuse me, looking through. Deceased, Celeste Impard, found by Juan Calida. Was her suicide note hidden? Well, that's not exactly helpful either. Can we present that back to get a little bit more information? Well, considering we've got 4 dialogue options now, are we moving forward from here? I don't like to look through reports. I like suicide reports even less. Worst of all are the reports that have multiple parts like that one. That has 2. 2 parts? What you just handed me is the first part of the report. Here is the second part. Oh, thank you. Yeah, you could have given me both at once, though. The second part of the report is about an attempted suicide. The attempter's name? It's Adrienne Andrews.
Miss Andrews? What did she do?
She tried to kill herself? She doesn't seem like the kind of person to try to kill herself, though. You think she's a strong career woman? That's just what she wants you to think. Adrienne Andrews. She has a certain secret she always trying to hide.
A secret?
Her dependent nature. That's what she's really like on the inside.
Miss Andrews? Dependent?
Talk about the exact opposite of what that woman is. Well, that's very interesting then. No extra conversation. And I guess I got part 2? You said you'd give me part... Can I have part 2? I need that. Can I have it? Please? It would be nice. You have part 2 with you. Please? God, it's like you telling me about the second part. Here is the second part. Yeah, I want that. Yeah, cool. But I want it. Because that sounds like, you know, Psyche Lock breaking material. It's very interesting, but I kind of need that. And I can't talk about it. And there's nothing to examine. What happens if I move? Now I'm just allowed to leave? Okay, I guess you can't actually get the second piece, but we'll continue on next episode. It sounded like he was going to give it to me and he knew about it, but I guess he knew it off the top of his head and nothing else. Weird. Anyway, join me next time for more Phoenix Wright, Justice for All, as we continue onwards with Edgeworth leaving us all in the flap. But he's back. The ace prosecutor who has never beat us. Not so ace then. But we'll continue on with Ace Attorney. Bye-bye.